Hi, this is Leah Wald. This is Hyperwave, and I'm here with Tyler. My mind is a little muddled because things are looking terrible. So, absolutely terrible. A bit of a bloodbath. So, Tyler, I'm going to let you jump straight into it. What's going on?
Okay, very good. Thank you, Leah. I'm sorry to have to bring you this news today. We were looking awfully good for the last 4 weeks, and we are not looking awfully good right now. But I want to define exactly what that means, and we are going to go right to screen share. And we are going to go right to the current action in the market. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because I want to show this bottom line from 5,920 all the way up. And I also want to show this line from the top down, 19,666. And I also want to show these two lines at 10,100 and at 11,100. And I've thrown on also a 50-day moving average. So with all of those lines, let's see what is happening today. It was up at this point where we were over 11,500 that we got our first negative candle. And we were expecting 1 to 4 candles down, lower, off of the sequential system that Tone has defined over the last couple of days. So we're in the middle of that 1 to 4 day pullback, but the damage being done by the second and the third daily bar is a lot more than I needed or wanted to remain bullish. What I mean by that is that we have stayed above the uptrend line from the bottom for the last 4 weeks. We broke through that on yesterday's candle. And on today's candle, we didn't even get back up to it before dropping below 11,100, below the 50-day moving average. And now, and very importantly, below the downtrend line from the top. I've been talking about that linear downtrend line for a very long time because we just couldn't seem to get above it. And it took a tremendous effort to break through it right here, and right here, 3 days in a row. And usually 3 days should give the break significant power. And the downtrend line itself was broken 5 trading sessions back before this downturn. So we are now below the 11,100, the downtrend line, the uptrend line, and the 50-day moving average. This is not fatal. However, it is requisite that we begin to bounce back up through all of these levels. The first being the downtrend line, which comes in about 9,900 right now. then our 10,100 line, then the 50-day moving average. If we can simply get back up into this thing between these two horizontal lines that I call the field, we can rest for a period of time. But we dropped all the way down to 9,400 minutes ago. We're now at 9,700. So we've had a 300-point bounce back up. But if anyone's noticing the volume, as I am, not only down here, 3 big bars in a row, which are getting stronger and stronger, but more importantly, on the bid-ask side over here, whenever heavy buying orders in the form of limit orders come in, they're swamped by very large selling orders coming in. So the battle is fixed here, and we are losing the battle for the day. That doesn't mean we're going to lose the battle and lose the war. But I wanted to do this special presentation midday today after I sent out a couple of tweets saying that this is not looking good. And we were still up around 10,100 when I was saying that, right before we dropped almost 700 points. Now we're slowly climbing back, which is the good news. I've had a bunch of questions come in on Twitter about where is our line for phase 3 on the hyperwave. So you're looking at that now, and I put
Tyler.
Yes.
Prior to going into the hyperwave, just regarding looking at the charts for today, I have Bitstamp up as well, and just looking at the RSI, which is kind of interesting. I was wondering if you could talk about the RSI, what you're seeing really quickly, because it's kind of showing mixed signals.
Okay, let's do that. There's the RSI. And the RSI, the good news for the RSI is that we were overbought when we broke through all of these lines of resistance. Not terribly overbought, but we were up fairly high on a daily RSI chart. We have now come down very sharply to 44.7 with the drop over the last 36 hours. But that's just mid-range. We can drop all the way to 30 or below in this downtrend. So there's plenty of room on the downside for the RSI. Let me take a quick look at the MACDs. And we are still positive on a daily basis, but we are, as you can see in this last histogram, we are flat, which means that any more downside action or staying down in this level without even going lower, we're going to cross into negative territory on the MACD. And that's after a run of almost 3 weeks of positive bars, which would not be a good sign. So very good question. And let's see what the implication is for the big picture, which is the hyperwave. We've been debating now for weeks. Are we in a 4, 5, 6, and 7? Or are we still holding the 3 line? And I've been saying, I believe we're still holding the 3 line, but we don't want to close below it. And right now, somewhere around the 8,000 level, today through 7 o'clock tonight, we must hold. Now, this is only Wednesday, and I cannot draw a conclusion, even if we drop below 8,000 until Sunday night at 7 o'clock. Because remember this big bar where we did penetrate the phase 3 line. But by Sunday's close, we had run all the way back up to over 8,100, well off the phase line. So first of all, we don't want to play that game. We want to stay up here well away from the 8,000 level. And when we dropped down to 9,400 about 35 minutes ago, again, I started getting very nervous after having sent those tweets out as the various technical support levels gave way. I like the action we are seeing right now since we started the vlog. We're now up to 98.30, so we've run 400 points now off the bottom. It would be perfect from a bullish point of view to get a long wick on this candle and to close tonight at 7 o'clock somewhere above 10,100. It would be less than perfect if we close below the 10,100 level, and it would be not perfect at all, but negative if we close below the downtrend from December 16th. That downtrend right now is around 99.50. We're at 9,800. So we just wanted to alert everyone. If you've been watching it, you've already been alerted without me telling you, but I wanted to give you my take on exactly where we are here. This is either a very big buying opportunity if the way I described what I'd like to see by 7 o'clock tonight occurs, or we could be starting something very negative. Remember, the 1 to 4 candle pullback is not etched in stone. It could be a full 9 to the downside.
Tyler?
Yes, please.
So people on the Twitter sphere are saying BTFD or by the blank dip. But given the rules of Hyperwave, if we do break this, and if it's a phase 3, then there probably ain't going to be a dip to buy, no?
Well, the problem is the dip can get bigger and bigger. You can buy the dip. The question is, where does the dip stop? And we're a long way from the 8,000 level. But we are a lot closer to it than we were 3 days ago. And I don't want to play around with it. In the best possible world for hyperwave analysis, to come back down and hold the 8,000 line again would be perfect. That would give us 2 more touch points along this long line. But I don't want to play that game. I'm satisfied that this touch point and reversal could and should be significant. So rather than play the game of where is the bottom here, just know that if this is a 1 to 4 day correction, today is the important day. Because if we can get a strong close above these 2 lines by 7 o'clock tonight, that gives us more room on the 4th day or the 3rd, depending on how you're counting on it. We're going to have to wait for Tone to give his explanation of what he believes this 1 to 4 day pullback is looking like. But my interpretation is if we can stay above 10,100, stay above this downtrend line from the peak, which is coming in around the 99.50 level, by the close, we will have opportunity tomorrow to get a strong reversal back up. If we close below everything by 7 o'clock tonight, the probability in my mind increases that we're not just looking at a 1 to 4 candle correction. We could be looking at a full 9 to the downside, which will get us very nervously close to this 8,000 level, which is where the third phase of the hyperwave comes in. Now, just to be clear, once again, what does it mean if we break the third phase of the hyperwave on a weekly closing basis this Sunday? It means that this third wave is it's been violated and is no longer a phase 3 line. And we will drop at least to the phase 2 line, which is coming in at 4,200. And I believe at that point, that 4,200 will not hold. And we will also break the phase 2 line and go all the way back down to the beginning below 1,000. So I am very concerned that the phase 3 line is not touched again. And we've got a very good possibility of keeping away from it. But the hours up until 7 o'clock are going to be crucial, and tomorrow is going to be crucial. If we can stay 1,500 points above the 8,000, which is pretty close to the low from today, and give us that room for maneuvering over the next couple of days, then I think we're going to see a very strong rebound. Everyone must make their own decisions about this, but what I am telling you is the action of the last several hours has thrown a big monkey wrench into the bullish picture. And with that, I'm going to go back to Leah.
Tyler, so I have more questions.
Good.
So these are all my questions. Everybody in the chat, if you have other questions, let me know. So yesterday was very motivated selling. You made a quick comment on Twitter today about where are the buyers? What targets should we be looking for that we'd start to see some sort of reversal that can make us feel a little bit better about potentially, moving to the upside and not hitting that line that we're worried about?
Yeah. To answer that, I'm going to quickly go back and just take a look at the chart. So the question that we are going to answer is, what do we need in terms of price action right now, right here, on this candle that we are now in, to feel less anxious? Number one is, let's not test the low at 9,400. 93.62, in fact, looks like, nope, 94.50 looks like the low. Let's not retest that. Number two, let's get above the downtrend line, which comes in around 9,900. We're 200 points away from that. Number three, let's get above 10,100 before 7 o'clock tonight. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm begging. For those three things to occur, we should be able to get a good night's rest. If one of them occurs, or two of them, that's not good enough. We need all three. It would be spectacular if before 7 o'clock tonight, we can rally the price up to the 10,400, 10,500 level. If we can do that, the fourth thing on my list, then I believe that is the end of the downturn. And at that point, and I think only at that point, can people begin to feel optimistic about the days to come.
Yeah. Turning back to one of our favorite subjects of GBTC.
Yeah.
So regarding the financial markets, I'd love if you could talk to it. GBTC is down, as is the whole Dow. But as we talked about before, GBTC follows, but isn't Bitcoin. We had a big discussion this morning on Tone's show. If anyone wants to look back on it, there's some updates with, we can talk about it later. But anyways, if you could bring up GBTC and tell us what you're looking for here, what should we be worried about? What should we expect? Again, given just the nature of the security being just kind of strange.
Yeah, that sounds very good. As we have been saying, GBTC follows Bitcoin plus or minus a huge premium, which makes it very difficult to analyze relative to movements in Bitcoin, but not impossible. So let me pull up the GBTC chart, which has not been updated for today, but I will be able to discuss where we are today in GBTC. So what I will do is pull this up, and then I will do this and let you know that GBTC has fallen to $15 approximately today. So the trend line, which I still believe is phase 2 for GBTC, as of this weekly chart, which will end on Sunday, comes in all the way down at $10. So we've got an enormous buffer for GBTC between where we are sitting now at $15 a little while ago, meaning 5 minutes ago, and the phase 2 trend line. That gives me a little bit of hope about our Bitcoin analysis, in that even if 8,000 is taken out on Bitcoin, we are not in a downtrend below the phase 2 line, and therefore maybe the phase 2 line of Bitcoin at 4,400 will be able to hold. I told you just a minute ago I didn't expect that, because I think we will see GBTC crumble very quickly from a large premium of over 40% down below 15% if we get another day or two of negative action in Bitcoin, which will put the GBTC line much closer on the phase 2 to being broken. That's a little bit complicated, I know, because they do not move exactly together. But for now, it appears that GBTC might be signaling that the end is not near. We will talk about that tomorrow after we can see the 7 o'clock close tonight and the 4 o'clock close on GBTC. Maybe we will do one more vlog later today after the 7 o'clock close, because then I will be able to give you the premium on GBTC. I'll be able to comment on where Bitcoin closed at 7 o'clock on a daily chart, and we'll have a much clearer idea.
Yeah, just briefly, a lot of folks are talking about how news is affecting this FUD, Binance, etc., and leading to downward pressure, but it's the prices that matter. So just so our viewers know where your mind's at, which I already know, given that Tyler uses over 40 different systems, can you just speak really quickly about how you do analyze sentiment and look at prices?
Well, I'd like to comment on the news question, because news is awfully funny. My belief is that news, particularly FUD sort of news that comes out, only temporarily affects price. And it only affects price if price is in a position to be affected. For example, when you go through all the horrible things that the news has brought us over the last 50 years, the assassination of President Kennedy, the assassination of Martin Luther King, the assassination of Bobby Kennedy, the impeachment of Richard Nixon, the potential impeachment of President Clinton, the 1987 one-day stock market crash. All of those things had a 1 to 2 day impact. The biggest things that have happened, the Cuban Missile Crisis, even the outbreak of war. So what my point is yes, news trumps price and technical analysis over a very short time period. If things are set up technically, such as a 4-day pullback off of the sequential system and the breaking down of trend lines, if some news item or several news items or FUD or a large whale dumping a position moves the price, it will appear as if the news is what's behind it. And I don't accept that. The price is the price because of all the news up to the moment that that price is registered, including everything you read in the paper and hear in the news or see tweeted or have people talk about is already in the price. All of the intelligence that we don't know from the intelligence services gets out and is in the price. So that is a philosophical difference I have with fundamentalists who believe that it is the news that drives the market and not the other way around. And I don't see anything different today. There was no big news item today. The SEC's investigation we were warned about it 30 days ago. And then news has come out as they've taken stronger and stronger stances. In my opinion, that should help Bitcoin. It should hurt the ICOs and cryptocurrencies. That's not what we're seeing today. Today, what we're seeing is an overall sell-off in the market because of a lot of different factors, but mainly because that the market had set up after breaking through 7 areas of resistance, and that support simply melted away during this period of time. That does not mean that I don't read everything I can that is newsworthy every single day. It is fundamental to what I need to do as a money manager to understand what everyone is thinking and reading and believing, because that is what affects sentiment, which then gets translated into price. So long answer, but that's the way I feel about it.
All right. Well, you guys heard it. We're definitely at a critical juncture. So let's see what happens. Hopefully we stay above our 10,100 line. things aren't looking good. But as we all know so far, nothing is predictable and everything is crazy in this crypto land. So we will definitely at least tweet out tonight, hopefully get another vlog out after 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll see how today goes. Tyler?
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. Good luck.
Thank you. Have a great day.